Arsenal over Liverpool, who will finish higher?
I think Liverpool.
I think Liverpool, what they will have is the Europa League. They're able to fully rotate their squad.
Yeah,
not me.
don't want City winning all these leagues all the time. But
are we just assuming then that City are going to win it? I mean, you know, it's a long season.
Correct.
You are, right?
Yeah. What's happening, people? Welcome to DR Sports and welcome to another show where we get into some of the preconceptions, some of the thoughts ahead. You know what I mean? Because it's international break, we've got to take time out and look at the league more intensely. What we're going to talk about today is who is the biggest threat to Manchester City. Now, Arsenal pushed them last year, you know. Maybe should have won the league, fell off, bottled it.
Couldn't wait to get that in.
Just saying what happened.
I see a little smile going.
Just saying what happened.
The
history is the history. It happened. Yeah?
We won't forget.
We won't forget.
Clearly not.
But Arsenal were clearly, though, you know, leading for a long time and looking like they were going to win it when people didn't expect that to. Could that happen with somebody else this year? Who is Manchester City's biggest threat, Nicky?
I'm going to say Liverpool. I've been impressed with Liverpool so far. They look like they're getting back, especially if they. I mean, today's the deadline, isn't it? Today,
Salah,
yeah.
At the time of recording,
At the time of recording,
Yeah.
Salah's still there. So I've been very impressed with them. Very impressed, and they've got a couple of good signings, and yeah, I think they could get back to their best, Liverpool, and I think they could push City again.
I think I kind of agree with you a little bit there. I think obviously you've got Arsenal, which I'm sure you'll go into, but I think with Liverpool they're kind of being slept on. I think maybe because they didn't sign a centre back or the ideal defensive mid, people are kind of overlooking them. But I think this season could almost be a throwback a little bit to Klopp in his first year. Or do you remember Brendan Rodgers' year, where it's just kind of rock and roll football? Because I think
going to score more than teams.
Depth-wise, in the front line, they're the best in the Premier League, in my opinion.
Yeah,
and midfield, now you're looking at Szoboszlai and McAllister. That could be one of the best combinations as well, if you're looking at it. Szoboszlai very early on has impressed as well. He looks a quality player. So, yeah, if you're talking kind of surprise package who can give you the most and guarantees you kind of goals every game, I think you can't rule out Liverpool. The only thing is defensively, can they kind of keep the shut out? Yeah, you obviously still got Trent concerns if he leaves gaps. Who fills in for him? Does Endo come in and become a starter straight away, or Gravenberch? Can he adapt to the Premier League straight away? So there's still some questions, but in terms of pushing the closest, I think Liverpool will definitely be there.
Yeah, because I think if the midfield works how Klopp wants it to work and they knit together, you've also got to take in the track record of what Klopp can get out of his teams, and the consistency that he can get. And I know that team might have changed since they last won the league, but there's still some strong characters there.
If they get the right cogs in there, they're such a machine.
Momentum,
they just keep on. They just like you know. I remember going to Anfield. When I think it was maybe the season before they won the league, but it was just like a relentless machine. They was just they all knew where to go. They was all circling. They all knew their position, and they didn't really have to defend. They just overloaded you, and I can see that coming back again, especially if like Núñez starts firing.
You've seen now they do it sometimes where it's 60th minute we haven't scored. Bring the whole front three off and whole new front three. It's like, hey, Diaz coming off the bench, Darwin Núñez. I'm not ready for this.
Yeah, they're stacked.
You can't sleep on Arsenal now.
Arsenal, Laurie.
Yeah, listen, it's early.
Let's get into that.
Early, but the performances have not been great, but we've still not been beaten. 4 games, 3 wins, 1 draw. Still a lot more to come from this side. I do expect us to be challenging. I mean, some of the fans are still telling me they think we can win it, right? So we will be there or thereabouts, I'm sure. I do agree with you guys. Liverpool look in a good position right now.
Do you know what I would say about Arsenal this year? And obviously they've got our old boy there. Is that there was like obviously losing Saliba last year was a huge blow to them, and then I think the loss of form of Partey. Yeah, Partey was magnificent, you know, in that holding midfield role. Then he lost form, you know, he went missing a little bit. That won't happen with Rice. Rice will be consistent. He'll keep on going and going.
Yeah, you don't get dips.
Do you know with Arsenal as well? I think definitely will be in or there and thereabouts for the title. But honestly, I think you actually stand a better chance of the Champions League, in my opinion. I think you look at the European playing field, you've got City, who are obviously the holders, Madrid, who have their heritage, Bayern Munich, now they've got Kane. But outside of those 3, last year you had Milan, Inter Milan, and Napoli doing deep runs, who had no right. So I look at Arsenal. Last season, you would have looked at their squad and said,
if Arsenal were Inter Milan last year,
they could have been doing a madness.
They could have got to the final.
And you look at the defence, you
With that
look at
run.
your depth, you look at a tactically flexible manager, and honestly, you've got all the kind of makings to do a deep run. So I think
We're
the
definitely
worry
expecting
for
a good
Arsenal, I
Champions
think,
League
this
run.
year is to not get too infatuated with the title. That if it's not there, fine, leave it. But I think the Champions League, honestly, it's there. And I think because you guys haven't been there in 7 or 8 years, it's almost like
Yeah,
let's
you don't
not
really
stress
want to.
about it.
Yeah.
We're only just coming back.
And they don't
But
have
honestly,
history in it as well.
That kind of lack of experience, if you like, that lack of fear or expectations might just be what the players need the first time around anyway.
I think that's what happened to Pep for a long time. And I don't think Arsenal, with all due respect, I don't think Arsenal have got the time that Pep has got at City.
Yeah.
You know, he was so focused on that Champions
That was
League.
the
Champions
Holy
League.
Grail,
That's the reason he let a few titles slip.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, yeah, I don't know.
I think Arsenal. The only thing you got to look at for Arsenal this year is obviously their expectation of having to challenge. Because I know you're saying about Champions League, and obviously if they went on to win it and didn't win the Premier League, it would be fine.
Forget about it.
Of course. However, I do think Arsenal fans, and rightly so, want to say, no, that last year wasn't a fluke where we went with City.
No.
You know what I mean? We need to be challenging again. Like we have to. It's not good enough. Like otherwise, what are we doing? We don't. You know, a lot of them say we don't want Carabao Cup, don't want FA Cup. It's Champions League, like you said.
You want that
and Premier League.
consistency.
Yeah, and we need to show that last year.
So yeah, definitely the Premier League
And they're
is
good
at the
enough to
top
prove
of
it
those
wasn't.
priorities.
Yeah.
Because of a lot of fans will see it as unfinished business. We should have won it. I mean,
But
let's
it's
face it. You are right. We were in a position where it was ours to lose, and we lost it. The inevitable taunts of bottling it, blah blah blah. So that's still, hits hard with some of the fans. We want to see them go on and make a
The only thing that
proper challenge and maybe go on and win it.
that I worry about with Arsenal is the lack of depth. I don't think they did enough in the transfer window. I thought them 4 signings.
I thought we had a good transfer.
I think-
Great transfer
I think that's
window.
what they've got
but
a bit better at depth
when you've
now.
got you look at the loss of Timber's out for the season, so
Big one.
that's one gone.
Which was
Kai
unlucky.
Hang on a
Havertz-
minute. It's the season? The whole season?
Well, they said 7 months or something.
It's not far off, is it? I mean, when he gets
7
back,
months,
it's
it'd be
gonna take
about
a while.
eight.
He's a young guy. He's a quick healer, I'm sure.
The optimism.
I hope he does though. But it's the depth. It's the depth for me.
Oh, the quality of the depth.
the quality of the depth. Yeah, like Kai
For me,
Havertz and
I think is important as well, though, not to get lost in like pre-season expectations. Because remember last year, I don't think any Arsenal fans would have had those titles.
No.
And then as the season went on, the context of the season was
Yeah.
like, okay, now we are in a title race. Let's go for the title. I think this season as well, it's like, okay, you have the aims to go for the title, but if you're second, third, and way off, start focusing towards the Champions League is what I would
Yeah.
say.
Yeah, I'm sure they will,
because it's a serious opportunity.
Go on.
Sorry, there's also got to be the same level of performances. Ben White switching to right back, I thought was magnificent last year. It was a breath of fresh air. I see him Saturday, and I think that first Man United goal was his fault. You know what I mean? He was holding off of Rashford. You've got to have the same level of performances. What's to say Partey's getting older now? What's to say he can, be as inconsistent as he was? You've got to have. There's a lot of factors.
He's injured now as well.
He's injured now as well. Yeah, but there's a lot of
That could
factors.
play
always
a part.
injured.
The
yeah.
injuries.
He's
The
always
injuries.
And like you said, that won't happen with Rice. Before we wrap up, is it safe to say that there's no other real honorary mentions to that? You're not going to see a surprise from Man United. You're not going to see a surprise from
Before the
Chelsea
season
or
started,
Spurs.
I would have thrown you guys as maybe outsiders, little horses, but I think the way you started, it's still going to be a teething season, it seems like, for you guys. But honestly, I expected better from you lot. I'll be honest with you. Ten Hag, second season, I think Anthony would have expected a step up. Rashford to take that team by the scruff of the neck. Bruno stepping into his own. Varane, Lisandro, Casemiro. You've got a solid spine there. And finally, a keeper you can trust as well.
Yeah, which we saw at the Emirates.
Yeah.
But 4 games. Now the
It's
transfer
only 4
window
games.
shut, and we got a lot of injuries.
Yeah.
Let us settle. Let us get Højlund. Let us get Amrabat in there.
He
Let
is
Mount
gonna-
come back off injury.
I think he looks good, actually.
Let
I
us
was quite
just
impressed.
chill.
with him.
He's
Yeah.
going to be massive.
Let
for
us
you
just,
guys.
I must admit, in that game last
Put
week,
that pressure on him, don't
Let's
I?
just see, yeah. And I know you like Højlund as well. And
In
we
that
saw it
game
30
last
I
minutes.
love him. No, I can't lie to you. I'm
there
a
was
big
a
fan.
very interesting battle going on between him and Gabriel. I like
Yeah, he
that.
said, "Listen, I'm here to
Real
fight.
men
I'm ready.
football.
I'm ready."
Proper
Okay,
team.
but not Brighton, Spurs, Ange.
Whoa. People are saying Villa was finishing ahead of us a couple of weeks ago.
I'm joking.
Chill.
I'm just checking sure
We're
there's
just
no more
enjoying the
honorary
moment.
Don't even look this way.
It's a marathon, not a sprint.
There you go. I think the safest bets are Arsenal and Liverpool. I think we've come to the conclusion
Yeah, I
there.
think so.
And if we're picking one, Arsenal over Liverpool, who will finish higher?
I think Liverpool.
Really?
Yeah, I think Liverpool.
Even now we've got Declan Rice from you now.
I just think Liverpool will. They've done it for a good few years. They was having a little bit of a rebuild. I think Liverpool will push City for the title.
Laurie?
I don't think Arsenal will be far behind.
Yeah.
No.
I think we're in a good space. Like I said, we've not hit the heights yet, but it's like we said, it's a marathon, not a sprint. I expect us to do more in the transfer window, as will a lot of other teams. But I'm expecting us to be there or thereabouts.
I'm going Liverpool, similar. I think Arsenal will be very close.
Surprise.
I think, maybe 2 or 3 point difference. But I think Liverpool, what they will have is the Europa League, they're able to fully rotate their squad.
Yeah.
Where Arsenal, the Champions League, is kind of
difficult.
We've got to play everyone. Whereas Liverpool is kind of like, oh, you know what, we can play the B team. So I think that will allow them Premier League progression, if you like.
Yeah, I had for long periods, I say for long periods, I know it's only 4 games, but I did have Arsenal second, Liverpool third. But the more I've looked at Liverpool in the last couple of games and worked them out a bit, and then you remember once they get going, like what you said,
second half of last season,
I think they can.
On a final note, are we just assuming then that City are going to win it? I mean,
we are.
It's a long season.
Correct.
You are, right?
We are. Yeah. Unfortunately, hopefully we're wrong and somebody else can win it. I'd love for Arsenal to win it instead of City.
Not me.
Don't want City winning all these leagues all the time. But
4 in a row.
Honestly, pathetic weasel Farmers League we have. Farmers League, mate. Same team wins it all the time. Take care, guys. Let us know who you think are the closest threat to City. Did we get it spot on with Liverpool and Arsenal? Or is there somebody else? Let us know. Take care. Peace.